time for Lykken on Lending.
Welcome, everybody. Good to have you with us.
Welcome to Lykken on Lending, a weekly mortgage market update providing up-to-the-minute information on interest rates, loan programs, and hot industry news, all related to the mortgage industry. Brought to you by Transformational Mortgage Solutions. To participate in today's program, our guest call-in line is 646-716-4972. Now here's your host of Lykken on Lending, David Lykken.
Let's begin.
This week's hot topic is with Bill Cosgrove, President and CEO of Union Home Mortgage. And as we continue our series on leadership in the mortgage industry, and it's really the need of leadership, we're interviewing some leaders that are doing a great job and trying to get some insights into how they're leading. What are some tips and tricks that are working for them? In this interview, we pre-recorded last week. We started talking about the generation of mortgage professionals, specifically millennials. How's Bill doing? He's probably doing the best job of anyone I know out there of drawing millennials into the mortgage industry, and he's doing it through an intern program. We're going to talk about that, as well as Empower and his involvement and support for it. And we talk about people, specifically the investing in world-class people in your organization, the key to invest back in to people. So without further ado, let's get into the interview that we pre-recorded with Bill. Listeners, I am excited to have back with us an industry leader, an industry icon, and I don't want to say that in an embarrassing way, but he really is. He's done so much for our industry, and his name is Bill Cosgrove, and he has a company that many of you know, Union Home Mortgage. And Bill, I just want to welcome you back to the Lykken on Lending microphone. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Well, David, thank you. It's good to be back, my friend. Thank you.
And joining me on this is one of our regulars, of course, Alice Alvey. All of you know and love Alice for her segment on all that's going on in D.C. and the regulatory update. But Alice, it's good to have you joining me on this. And you have a unique perspective because you work for Bill inside of his company, Union Home Mortgage. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Dave.
Listeners, we did an interview on the Lykken on Leadership podcast some time ago with Bill, and I encourage you to go listen to that, and we're going to put links to that interview in the show notes here. But, Bill, what I want to go to on this podcast is your view of leadership. You've owned your company now for how many years, and you've been a leader in the industry for how many years?
Gosh, Dave, I own the company now 20 years and, probably close to 17 years, been serving the industry both in Ohio and at the national level at the Mortgage Bankers Association.
One of the things that I am seeing evidence of is while the core tenets of leadership probably haven't changed, how we lead has changed. I want to get your perspective in this interview, in this podcast, is what has changed, what hasn't changed, at least as relates to how you're managing your business and what you're seeing those that you respect are managing their business.
Well, it's interesting. I think what's happened over the years is, before there were, I think in the early years, maybe 3 or 4 people at the top of any company, any organization calling the shots. And I think in today's world where we're surrounded with data, we're surrounded with media, we're surrounded with social media, immediate type of data, to me it's more of a collaborative type of management style. You want more opinions. I think the fundamentals of leadership, how you treat people, what you expect of people, the type of people that you want in leadership positions, that hasn't changed. I think that's as fundamental as it's been for the 33 years that I've been in business. However, after that, to me, it's more of a collaborative leadership and management process than it's ever been, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, collaboration is one of those things where it involves others, and you've been the most progressive in 2 areas, one of which is Empower, supporting the Empower within the organization, within the industry, and then also what you've done with millennials. I guess I should say the third thing, because you started, it was under your leadership at the MBA. We have the Independent Mortgage Bankers Conference that's going on. But let's talk about the millennials. How do you see that changing? Is collaboration as a result of them? Is it something that they put a premium on? Talk about that from what you are seeing with all the millennials you're now working with.
Well, it's funny. I owe chief economist at MBA, Mike Fratantoni, credit for opening up my eyes, because when I was vice chairman, actually Mike and I went all over the country and did it about 10 times in speeches. And I heard Mike give the same presentation of the demographics in the mortgage business and how old, so to speak, the mortgage business was getting, and it was shocking to me. And so after being with Mike, it drilled into me that something needed to change. It wasn't going to change on its own, and I needed to get out in front of it. So best thing we did is Al Blank and I tried to start an intern program, and the joke around Union Home is it took us about 2 years to realize that young kids don't get excited when their grandparents or someone their grandparents' age visit campus. So it took us 2 years to realize that we were the grandfathers. We didn't see it that way, but that's the way it happened. So after that, we had a couple of really fantastic interns that we saw tremendous leadership qualities in, 2 young ladies that were 25 years old, and we put them in charge of the program, and they have absolutely hit it out of the park. We've won multiple awards. We recently had 65 great interns. We had 300 applicants from 19 different universities.
Wow.
And it's amazing, Dave. From May until August, the whole company is just jazzed bringing these young kids in because they see life a little differently. They see mortgage process and buying a home differently and how they want to interact with a mortgage company. So not only have they come in and done great work, and they're great young kids with great work ethic, and we throw them into everything. I mean, they're in executive meetings. Other than HR things that no one's ears should hear, we expose them to everything, and the way they've responded is just off the charts. And now about 45 of them over the last 6 years have started careers at Union Home, and there'll be many more as time goes on. So to us, it's been a game changer. And I talk to IMBs all over the country to start the program for yourself. So it's been fantastic.
It's really interesting as we study IMBs and millennials and leadership. They march to a different drum. They're motivated by different things than the other generations. Maybe so, maybe not. What's your observations?
With IMBs?
Well, I'm talking about millennials in IMBs or millennials generally, how you're leading them. Has it changed that much? Is it that unique? We're hearing it is.
It is. It's a little bit more unique where I think the millennials, the interns that we have, they have a poise. I think because of social media, they have a poise that we didn't to make presentations in front of 100 people. 30 years ago I'd have died. Today, these kids step up and don't blink an eye. They have a lot more self-confidence. They've got great communication skills, much better than my generation did, because they're exposed in different mediums of communication. And so I think, too, that they're when people talk about entitlement, there's a little difference there. They expect more, but I think it's done in the right category. They expect more from their company. They expect the company to be more civic and community-minded, and I think that's a good thing. So all in all, I honestly believe that millennials in the workplace actually make the company better. They take the company in different ways and different thought processes. So quite honestly, it's challenging at times, but with that being said, they make you better. They really do make you better. They do. And then we've found ourselves, our senior management team, by the end of summer, we take the best of the best and we just sit down and talk to them. And we say, what do you see here that you like and don't like? And their observations.
The feedback.
Their observations are spot on. I mean, so we've become really big fans. They're not anybody out there running a mortgage company that thinks, God, I had 5 or 6 young people, and this is an animal that I'm not. I can't deal with this animal. I think you're wrong. They're wonderful, and they've made us better. It's a challenge, but they've made us better.
I love that, and especially seeing as that's the largest single demographic group going to be buying homes, it gives you unique insights. Alice, let's get you in on that. You're Vice President of Training and Education there. You are training these people. How are you seeing how they respond? Have you had to change up? Have you had to use more social media? How has it changed in the way? And then, of course, you can ask any questions of Bill on this topic while we're on the millennials and leadership.
Well, I think the first thing I have to say is Bill has been tremendous in recognizing what this group needs. So one of the recent things that we just rolled out was for some of the college grads who finished the internship, who have certain skills that we want to make sure we can hire and retain in the company. We've pulled together a leadership training program for them. So they will have a 2-year run of working with various departments and really getting a deep dive into how the whole company runs, with the idea that at the end of that 2 years, we'll have a long-term place for them within the company, and also have really given them a strong foundation to move quickly up into management. So he's really made a tremendous investment. So when you talk about what do the millennials want, how do we make sure that we're keeping them engaged, that's just one example of, you've got to have solid programs where they can see a career and see the vision. And Bill has done a great job of building that for them. We also recently rolled out a Future Leaders program as well, which is a little bit different for folks who are already at the company, have shown their skills through various projects and just earned their way into another full-year program that offers them a tremendous amount of, really, I call it like a leadership rocket fuel for them so that they can advance. So I'd love to get Bill to talk about these programs and his vision for them, because really I just try and execute on the vision, and he's the one with this tremendous vision.
Let's talk to the visionary, Bill.
Well, that's a lot of pressure. Alice is being very generous. She's a very key executive at Union Home. So I think, Dave, here at Union Home, and I think any successful company, we really don't have a budget of how much we invest in people through Union University, which Alice runs, and anything we could do, to educate, create leadership opportunities, have them understand the mortgage business. Whether we realize it or not, whether it's great companies, FedEx, Progressive Insurance, you name a great company, and they are very intense about going after talent. And I think in the mortgage business, certain companies have figured that out. Many of us have not. But at the end of the day, it's talent and teamwork that really take customer service and winning in the mortgage business to the next level. So we just believe in investing in people. If you invest in world-class people, you're going to get a world-class result, and it's really that simple.
Without diving too deep into this, what are some of the programs that you offer for training and leadership, especially as it relates to the millennials?
Alice, you could jump in, but when the interns come in the first week of May, we have an incredible program for them that's already spelled out. They interact lunch and learns with executives at the company. They spend a week to 10 days in our, what we call our Rudy Huddle, which is where we basically run the company. The other key interns, the top performing interns, they shadow senior executives. At the end of this summer, we give them a project. We have them deep dive. We talk to them, and actually the appraisal management issue problem, or lack of appraisers, and where that's going, and we give them a big problem to solve. At the end of the year, we have them break up in teams, and they just do absolutely an amazing job. They blow us away, really, with their analytics and their performance. Alice, I'm sure I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm sure I'm missing a few things that we do with the young people for the program.
Well, I think you hit on the big things, and that's the projects. We also let them decide where they want to be as they're going through the program. So they, we look at their skills and their field of study, and they may start in one area, and they may go, I want to go try this department over here. And we let them shadow various departments. They're not just stuck in one place for the entire time also. So that makes a big difference. And then we do make sure, all of us as managers, with all the touch points that they have, to make sure they really feel a part of the company, that the work that they're doing is meaningful. We don't just have them here, standing at the copier. We really put them to work so that they learn the business.
Yeah, and the other thing we've learned, David, too, is is at the end of the year when we do our sort of graduation night, we bring the parents and grandparents.
Awesome.
We've learned, we just learned that the last couple of years, and we've learned that the parents and grandparents want to know, where is my, at that point they're still called a child, right? Where is my kid spending their days? So they know when it's Miami of Ohio or Ohio State University or Michigan State or wherever it is, but during the summer. So we've learned to get the family involved as well. And so it's just, it's a really cool program, and we learn a lot from it. And make no mistake, I mean, we it has a purpose, and that purpose is to introduce young, talented, wonderful young people to a great industry. No one knows, last thing I'll say, no one knows, this is what I say to them day one when I get the chance to talk to them. Inside the mortgage banking business, there's 20 different great career opportunities. There's 20 different avenues of a career in mortgage banking, and no one knows that from the outside. And that's one of the things that make the mortgage banking very dynamic. It's very diverse, and there's many career paths within a thriving independent mortgage banking company, and that's exciting.
I couldn't agree with you more. There are so many avenues, and we have to find ways to draw our emerging college students into this industry, or we're in trouble. And you're doing a great job of it. I'm so thrilled. I want to get a film crew up there to just follow you around so we can duplicate this in other companies, because I think it's such an important initiative. I want to shift, Bill, just from this. I could stay on this topic for a long, long time, what you're doing with millennials, and I want to get over to what we're doing at Empire, but I want to shift to the older generation, the ones that are stuck, know they need to change, but they're struggling with it. What would you say to them?
Yeah, to me, it's about who you have around you. So, it's a healthy business. Most of us, a lot of us, maybe half of us now that own independent mortgage banking companies, we started them from nothing. We started them small, and let's face it, all of us have a certain level of talent. There's things we can do very well, and there's things we don't do so well. So I think the key to it for me is to always, it's the fundamental, Dave, of always hire people that have talent that you don't, right? They got to be wonderful human beings, yes. Number one. They got to be people that you're proud to be associated with. That's a given. But other than that, you've got to hire tremendously talented people and give them an avenue to run. And I think if you do that and you just surround yourself with great, committed people where ego is set aside and it truly is about team and about caring for each other and about the result, I think if you create as a leader and an owner, if you create that environment, you push each other to the next level. And I think, getting involved in MBA, in other associations where
right.
you're in positions where you can actually talk to other leaders of companies to just, am I on track? Am I off track? Am I totally crazy? Where, get their feelings and then have 4 or 5 of them that you can trust and talk to. So I think it's all about what our mom and dads taught us, is you are who you surround yourself with. And so I think true. You just got to I think you got to just surround yourself with people that have a brilliant mind that are always searching to take, there's always a better way, right? And if we don't find it, someone's going to run over us and find it. So I think it's really a matter of the culture that you create.
I want to tell a quick story on you, Bill, because there's someone who I know, and he came to me, and he was interviewing, thinking of which company to go to work for, and he ended up not going to work for you, and it was your choice, and I want to talk about your selection process, because he recognized the wisdom in it later. So you have a test or some type of profile that you run on people that you're hiring, if I'm correct. At least this is what I understood from him.
Yeah, we're big fans of DISC assessments, and we don't use them strictly solely, red light, green light when it comes to hiring. But Dave, in my career, for some God reason, and I don't fully understand it, at times there's a lot of ego in our industry, and
there is.
Yeah, and it's funny that anybody that I talk to, this is mortgage banking. I think is the ultimate team sport. And as a young person,
yes,
I started in my 20s. I was part of a couple organizations that had wonderful people that were allowed, if they didn't, if you didn't get the answer you wanted, you can act like a 2-year-old, and good people became average people that became disengaged people that end up leaving the organization. So I come from a very loving home. My parents were working class people, but it was a wonderful, wonderful place to grow up. And I never was raised with that dysfunction. And so I was raised to respect people and so forth. And when I got in mortgage banking, I fell in love with the business, but I was sometimes shocked at the behavior of people and, loan officers when they heard the word no and so forth. And so I realized, I saw with young eyes, not in management, not in anything else, but I saw early in my career how dysfunction killed organizations and killed mortgage companies. And when I bought Union Home, I said one thing, is that we would not be that type of organization. I don't know what we'll be. I can't, I'm not the brightest person in the world, but I sure in the hell know who we're going to be and what we're going to stand for. And I think that has served us well all these years. And so for us, it's a matter of who fits the team and who's able to fit the team. And that's not an indictment of someone that we don't hire. It's just that we believe that in all levels of the organization, dysfunction kills companies, and we want to attack the hell out of problems, not people. And so I think that's where it all comes from.
I love that, and I bring that up only because I think more people should do that. There's a number of leading companies that we consult to that do that, and they have a much more successful hiring process. This person was really crushed because I had built you up and told him, if you get a job there, that'd be awesome. And his personality didn't fit. He had a very strong personality, I learned later. And so there are stories like this that come out that I think is so important. And Bill, we could just go on and on about things that have made your company successful. You referenced how you got in, your family. Again, I referenced that on a leadership podcast, an interview I did with you, and have people go back and listen to that. You tell that story about your parents and how you got into the business. It's such a good story. Well, let them go back and listen to that. I want to talk about Empower, because another thing that you're doing that is so impactful, not only on your company but on the industry, is you really are a big supporter of what Marsha Davies is doing with Empower, and you are not just supporting it with words, but you're putting some money and investment behind it, and you're flying people to this conference that we now have in Austin, wherever the annual conference is. You have a good representation of up-and-coming female executives, and I applaud you for that. What's behind that? What did you see there that caused you to do that? And then Alice, chime in on this.
Yeah, so it's interesting that it stems early on from, really the way I was raised. My mother was a wonderful lady, very talented. She was for the most part, she worked either in warehouses, type of on a line where she got paid piecemeal, and when she couldn't do that anymore physically, she became a nanny and worked with families, pretty wealthy families in Greater Cleveland, to help raise their kids. And Mom was a wonderful, wonderful lady. And it was funny that so I was very impacted by my mother, very close to my grandparents. So my grandmothers were also a big influence in my life. They had huge, wonderful personalities. So I was, without ever knowing it, I was very, very close with my mom and my two grandmothers. And it was interesting as I started in business and having a business career, I noticed that when it came to management, and I'm talking about the 80s and early 90s, women just didn't have almost the desire to be part of management. Maybe they didn't feel that they could do it, or they weren't welcome to that. So I learned from the millennials, and from the interns, I say, I'm not a psychologist. Everybody knows that. However, I noticed that the young men come in with a whole lot of bravado and confidence, with little talent to back it up, but yet young ladies come into our organization with all the talent in the world, but not the confidence they need or want or will grow into to be successful. So I just think Empower and our dear friend Marcia Davies. I just love her and her husband Scott. Oh, she's wonderful, and but I think Empower. I can't tell you why it's like that, but young ladies or ladies of all ages, I think need a special support system, different than men. And I think if you give them the correct support system, and Empower does that, they will obtain new and different heights in their career that originally when they look in the mirror, they probably didn't think they could obtain. So I just see Empower being the rocket fuel that a lot of ladies of all ages, of every age, need to obtain levels in their career that they want. And if not, have a support system. Because let's face it, women in the workplace have, being moms and so forth, they have a different burden and an extra burden many times that men don't. I can't tell you why. True. I don't know why, but it's just true. And so that's why I love Empower. I'm proud to be part of it. It started how I was raised and just what I've seen and witnessed during my career. And I think Empower has come at the right time in mortgage business and for the right reasons. And I think many, many females of all walks of life and all positions in the mortgage business, executive or not, or anything in between, are benefiting from it. And myself, I'm proud, and Union Home is proud to support it. It's just that simple.
Alice, you and I were together in Washington, D.C. I had my recording podcast booth set up for recording interviews with many of the leaders, and you brought a lot of the individuals that were privileged to go last year in D.C., and you'll be joining me again at the recording booth this year, and we'll be recording interviews. I'm hoping we can record some of the interviews from some of the Union Home gals that are attending Empower this year, but you'll be joining there. But talk to Alice a little bit about what you're seeing. What are you hearing the impact that Empower has as they come back from one of these events into the marketplace? Do you have a story or two that you can share with us?
I do. So our partners get very motivated. We have a group now who is pulling together some regular activities that will continue here at the company. So there'll be, a super secret now, big announcement coming out at our women's event that we are joining with MBA on Saturday as part of our annual partners celebration. Bill has graciously allowed that we'll have all 600 plus women at Union Home Mortgage getting together for a presentation by Marcia Davies. So we're doing this in conjunction with the Mortgage Bankers Association and Empower. And as a result of all this energy, we have our group, Christina Fagan and Ashley Rivera, who are pulling together just a women's resource group at the company as a whole that will continue on throughout the year with different get-togethers. And as Bill said, and really as the Empower mission is, it's really just to strengthen the networking opportunities, help individuals with professional growth and development, and really just to share ideas. And so we're really looking forward to that kickoff event that's happening at our annual partner celebration, and then will be ongoing throughout the year.
Well, I just applaud you both, what you're doing within the organization, taking not just the event that the MBA has, but literally bringing it inside your company. Bill, I just applaud you for that kind of leadership. That's why I want you on regularly on this podcast talking about the innovative things that you're doing. And sometimes they don't seem so innovative, but the results they bring, you realize just how much innovation is happening. We talk about innovation, we think about always technology, but it's investing in people and innovating by bringing in networking people, supporting them. There's some wonderful things some companies are doing. I'm thrilled with what you're doing there. Hopefully, Bill, you can swing by the sound booth when we're interviewing some of your team. If you can make your way over to where Empower is on Saturday, I'd love to have you join in and tell some of the stories about some of these gals that are there. If you can, if it's possible, great. Alice will be there, and we'll be doing that. So really appreciate both of you taking time today to get on this interview and share with these things with so many of our listeners. Bill, I'll wrap it up with this. What are the most important things you would want up-and-coming executives or those that have been around for a little while but are looking for a new life? What would you say to them?
I think, David, it comes down to this. And I'll tell you, I learned this being an officer of MBA when I had the opportunity to become friends with a lot of executives and see how companies did it. regulatory practices are regulatory practices. Put that aside. You got to do the right thing every day when it comes to regulatory. But at the end of the day, there's so many roads in so many ways to get to the level of success you want. There's no one right way. I think there's many right ways. I also know that consumers are going to continue to expect more from us, and so the demands, you can't stay the same. You can't stay in the same position. You cannot have the same beliefs or the same strategy. It all evolves, and I think at the end of the day, you've got to be somebody and surround yourself with people that want to innovate, want to evolve, want to get and need to get better every day. And that's really what it's going to take to win in the future. So the world is evolving quick, probably faster than a lot of us want it to. Consumer behavior, right? Consumer behaviors are changing in rapid-like fashion. And I think in the mortgage industry, we've got to stand up and meet those demands, but do it the right way, do it compliantly. And I'll tell you that off of the last thing I'll say, off of the crisis of 10 years ago, there's some regulatory things that need to be worked out where companies need to follow the regulations.
Yes. That
needs to happen, and I think in some areas that's not happening, and it's not right. But that being set aside, I think as whether you're an independent mortgage banker like we are, a regional bank, community bank, a large institution, I think we're so much better at regulatory issues. We're better with consumers, better in servicing. So I'm really proud of the industry because I think over the last 10 years, our companies have become more mature, better executing, and there's a lot to be proud of in our industry. And so I'm excited to be part of it, and I thank you for your time today and having me on your show. It's a great show.
I always love having you here. Appreciate it. Thank you, Alice, for joining in. Appreciate it so much. Folks, we just had as our guest Bill Cosgrove. Very thrilled to have him, President, CEO, owner of Union Home Mortgage, along with Alice Halvey. Encourage you to stop by the booth for those of you that will be attending the Empire event. Again, Marcia has opened it up. If you listen to the previous week's interview with Marcia Davies, she opened up the conference this year, so some of us guys can step in. Previous conferences, it was only women, but I think more and more guys need to put their head in the door and check out what's going on. Again, it's for women, and it's our industry, and I support it so much. So I thank you for what Bill's doing, also what he's doing in the area of working and drawing millennials into our industry. I want to say a special thank you to all of you that are listeners. Next week, we've got Dave Savage with the Mortgage Coach, as well as Ryan Hills, who is with Movement Mortgage. These are social media masters and maestros that produce some great content. We're going to be talking more about what are they doing, what are the lessons they're learning. We're talking about how you can get your message out. Dave Savage had Ryan and I on, so it was the three of us being interviewed. Actually, Dave set it up where someone else interviewed the three of us on his podcast and on his video blog. So anyway, encourage you to check out next week. I want to say a special thank you to our sponsors, Black Knight, Open Mortgage, Finastra, ResX Warehouse Lending, a division of United Bank, the MBA, Lenders One, as well as the Mortgage Collaborative, and CMLA, Community Mortgage Lenders America, Velma, as well as Knowledge Coop, Vidyard, and AI Assist. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great week. See you back here next week.
You've been listening to Lykken on Lending, a weekly mortgage market update with your host, David Lykken of Transformational Mortgage Solutions. Join us next week, and thanks for listening.